Worst thing that can happen to you in a public toilet. We need to find out what all those strangers' bottoms, all that urinary splashback, and all those unwashed hands mean in hygiene terms. Just how safe are you in a public lavvy?
OK, this is quite literally bog standard. A typical gents' public loo. Hundreds, maybe thousands of bums come here every week. It's seen everything from lack of spatial awareness to all manner of emergency evacuations. But we want to know, is it really that bad? Meet our expert, Tom from Imperial College London. Now, Tom, this sort of thing is right up your alley, isn't it?
Yes, I'm afraid so. A lot of the bacteria hotspots are actually in places which have regular human contact, but are also actually quite moist, so the actual bacteria can survive once they've actually been contaminated.
OK.
So the actual seat itself is actually relatively bacteria-free because it's too dry to support anything. However, under here, if you start looking around the rim, underneath here it's very moist and damp. The nasties from the fecal bacteria, they kind of come in here and they get stuck underneath the kind of rim, which is very moist and humid. And salmonella has been reported to stay there for up to 4 weeks. So every time you flush the chain, what we do is you create an aerosol. I'll move away from that. You create an aerosol of bacterial droplets that kind of come around up to about 6 feet in the air.
So we're being showered at the moment?
We're being showered at the moment. It's lovely.
Was that yours?
Personally, no.
So the whole thing's pretty dodgy area as far as contamination goes?
Yes, but by far not the worst. Surprisingly, it's actually the sink here, which is very nice. You've got so much still water around here that the bacteria can last here for a very long time.
So they love still water?
All around the soap here, it's wet, and especially around the warm tap.
So anything you touch, you're going to be contaminated. So this sign here is actually misleading.
Well, no, because otherwise you'd take them out into the wider world and you would contaminate everybody else, your food and everything. So it's very important to wash your hands. And then, ideally, if you had a paper towel, you'd use that because this literally blows all the bacteria that are around you onto your hands. But, you know, a good 20 or 30 seconds, vigorously washing your hands and everything's cool.
Tom, it's time for some science.
We're going to find out which is worst for general filth, a public loo or a private bathroom. It's an accepted fact that public loos are the devil's own creation, smelly and disgusting. But is this true? And if it is, whose fault is it? We sent our bog swab SWAT team in to find out. This is Dr. Bill Hannage, who's going to analyse all those swabs for us to find out what bits of your public convenience are just a bit whiffy and what bits are slightly dangerous or could even kill you. Dr. Bill, can I call you Dr. Bill?
Oh, you can call me anything.
Excellent. OK, how do you find out what lies around in your common or garden public loo?
Well, you take a swab, which you collected, and you rub it on some of this stuff. This is agar.
Yeah.
And it's full of nutrients and full of all the goodies that bacteria like to grow and live on.
Right.
And then you incubate this at body temperature for 24 hours or so. And then the next morning, there they are. They've all grown up.
Lovely. Now, what kind of things can I expect to find in a public toilet?
Well, you need to think about what people do in a public toilet.
OK, I'm thinking.
OK? I know it's nasty. But every time it's used, all the bacteria which are in your gut get dumped into the toilet bowl. And believe me, there are a lot of bacteria in your gut.
Lovely.
And then they get them on their hands, and every time they move around the toilet, they deposit it on the door, on the taps, around the sink, and they can grow there. Bacteria really like warm, moist places, and there are plenty of warm, moist places in a public toilet.
OK, so, I mean, I'm thinking you're going to find more poo bacteria and all those types of bacteria in the toilet bowl.
That's not actually necessarily true. Because the toilet bowl often gets bleached, then it can have fewer bacteria than the sink. In fact, it's probably fair to say that if a Martian were to come to Earth and look at the number of bacteria in those places, they'd wonder why we didn't poo in the sink and then wash our hands in the bowl. OK,
so you're picking up other people's bacteria on your hands every time you use a public toilet, basically?
That's absolutely right.
Grand. How many of these can actually be really dangerous, though?
Well, it really depends on where you find them, because in the gut, they're pretty all right, generally. But if you get into them in the bloodstream, then they can be very dangerous.